Hey, beautiful. Aminata here, and I am so excited to introduce this episode about the summer solstice to you. The summer solstice is about you gearing up to go full out, to live out your life purpose. All the seasonal energies are about flourishing, getting out there, being seen. This year, we're gathering on June 20th through the 23rd virtually. Please join us. Just go to my website, dramandakemp.com, and you will see Summer Solstice. So, first of all, I want you to know the summer solstice is not just a one-day thing. Yes, there is a particular day, usually June 20th in the Northern Hemisphere, or June 21st, where we have the longest day of extended sunlight or the shortest night. Okay, true. But I want you to think of the summer solstice as a 2-week period. I want you to think of it like as a portal, as a liminal space in which you get to grow yourself, expand yourself, do some healing so that you can be seen and heard on a larger scale, so that you can walk your truth more powerfully, so that you can withstand whatever comes your way, good or with dignity, with strength and groundedness. The summer solstice is about you gearing up to go full out for whatever it is that your heart is guiding you towards, to live out your life purpose, to start the business, to hit the send button, to publish, to start the healing group. All the seasonal energies are about flourishing, getting out there, being seen, and coming from the heart. I invite you in this 2-week period around the summer solstice to take the time to go within, to take the time to actually retreat and build your capacity to be seen and to be heard on a larger scale. I want to say a little bit about my own first summer solstice retreat. I gathered with a group mostly of women and non-binary people in Ecuador under the leadership of Dr. Gerald Robinson and others. And it was my first time in a summer solstice gathering that was going to be like 7 days. And I was scared. I grew up Christian. I didn't really grow up thinking too much about the seasons, the stars, what impact they might have on me. So my summer solstice experience was transformative. First of all, or maybe one of all, at the time I had a weave in my hair. And so during that 7-day period, I decided I didn't want to have a weave anymore. So I took that out. And during that 7-day period, we had a grieving ritual. And I wasn't used to really crying in front of other people or going into the ocean to give my tears to the ocean and to Mother Earth. That was new to me. And it was a beautiful recognition that grieving makes room for other things to appear when we honor our grief. Other emotions, other energy inside of our bodies can show up because we have taken care of something super fundamental. The other thing that I noticed about myself while I was on this retreat was that I felt a little insecure. I felt like they were so much more revolutionary than me, or they were so much more advanced than me in terms of their understanding of earth cycles and earth medicine and of African indigenous wisdom. I felt like a newbie and a baby. And that's because I was, but I also felt less than. And this is what I think it's so important to distinguish. Yes, we will be in spaces where we are the newbie, the baby, when we are learning, and we are 100% valid, 100% as loved by God, 100% as important to the universe. It's just that we're in the position of being primarily a learner in this space. There's nothing wrong with us. It took me a while to get to that perspective, and I'll tell you how it happened. There was a woman there who I envied. I thought she was so awesome. She said her mission was in the furtherance of the liberation of Black people. And when I had shared about my mission, I said, I'm on a mission to heal the planet. And when I heard her say what she said and I heard what I said, I thought, oh, hers is so specific. Mine is so general. So I immediately made it one was better than the other. Anyway, so over the course of the days, I'm over there like looking at her, admiring her. I said something. I acknowledged her at the end of our experience. And I said, I admire you for this and for that and for your Nzinga-ness. Nzinga is an African warrior queen, historical figure. And this woman turned to me, who I'd been putting up on a pedestal the whole time, and she said, thank you. I think you've just given me my name. And I was so humbled by that, that I, a newbie, someone who was feeling like I wasn't quite as good as, that spirit had spoken through me, and that something I had offered resonated and helped her. So I say this because I want you to know that when you are in community over the summer solstice, all kinds of healing is possible. Belief in yourself, willingness to walk in your truth, not compare yourself to other people's truths or other people's gifts, but to stand in your own worth. That's what's possible when you come together and you take something like a soul journey, a deep, over time kind of retreat over the summer solstice period. Okay, beautiful. So now I want to talk about why this summer solstice, June 2025, is so special. It's special because we're in a period where Saturn has moved into Aries. It is on the 0 degree. It's a special point of the beginning of the cycle in the Western astrology zodiac. What this means is that this is a momentous time to begin again, to reset, to let who you really are come out freely. And when you do this inside of community, when you do this with some support, you can be a little bit more brave, you can be a little bit more vulnerable, and you can be a little bit more questioning and exploratory without having to figure it all out with yourself. Inside of our soul journey this year, we are specifically helping every person to connect with an ancestor and a nature ally who wants to assist them, who is dying and joyfully ready to assist you in the expression of who you really are and what you are really here to do. What could be more exciting or important to a queen who loves to serve, for a queen who knows that she is a divine being on this planet for a reason, than to come together in community over the summer solstice 2-week period to affirm and confirm who she really is, who he really is, what they are here to do inside the space of a loving, supportive community. I summon you to the soul journey of the summer solstice with the Mother Tree community that's going to be happening this June. I want you to come in, tap in, get your prayer shawl on, get your leadership staff in your hand, get your voice warmed up and your heart open so that you can carry forth your message with all that healing that you've been doing over your lifetime has led you to, the lessons, the wisdom, so that you may share it, so that you may own it and practice it in your own life. Woohoo! Do you not want to come to the summer solstice soul journey? I do. And that's why I created it. Let me tell you some specifics. This year, we're gathering on June 20th through the 23rd from 12 to 1:30 each day virtually. And then we'll have our individual practices from the 23rd until we gather again virtually on the 28th for our completion. We'll be together on 5 days, but there's a window around us That's 2 weeks of us communicating via our community group. If you'd like to do that, please join us. Just go to my website, dramandakemp.com, and you will see Summer Solstice. So, in the second half of the podcast, I'm actually going to share with you an excerpt from the teachings that we had last summer solstice on rest, release, and restore. The reason why I'm sharing this is because I want you to get a taste for what we actually do in the summer solstice soul journey. So, listen in for some teaching on restoring trust. Today, I want us to think about restoring trust with ourselves and also with our ancestors. But we didn't start here. On our first day, the theme was rest. And I really talked about rest as slowing down. It doesn't necessarily mean coming to an absolute halt, especially if you've been running fast. To come to an absolute halt could be a little difficult. It could give you a little whiplash. So just start to slow the puppy down. And rest was also an invitation to be quiet, limit your intake. You know, what you were hearing from other people, from talking to other people, not necessarily to spend it all in silence unless that worked for you and where you're living, but to quiet down and slow down. And then the next day, the theme was release. We talked about releasing colonizing ideas of linearity, of making a beeline, of going from A to B. We talked about walking a circle instead, looking at ourselves as part of cycles. There's obviously a 24-hour cycle, but there are larger planetary cycles that we're part of. I shared a story about my own walking the cycle and encountering the theme of sexual assault abuse from early on, and encountering that theme again 28 years later in a different form. The idea with the cycles is that we're going to repeatedly encounter themes, and it's what we bring to the themes that is different, not that the themes go away. As we've moved along, we started to integrate elements. So water yesterday, we poured water and greeted the directions and asked the directions to support our efforts. And I invited you to take that water and put it on your altar. You could put it under your bed. You could drink it. You can leave it in the room where you are, where you're doing this soul journey, because water carries vibration. So this water that we created, that we poured yesterday, as we honored the directions and called forth those energies, this water now has magic. It has power for you. Today, I want us to think about restoring trust with ourselves and also with our ancestors. One of the things I've noticed as a human being is that sometimes I say yes when I know, or when my body is saying no, or not yet, or not now, but I say yes anyway. Or I contract and I say no when my heart really wants to say yes. When I judge myself harshly, I've noticed a tendency to remember every single thing that I've done wrong. Randomly, I'll just be walking the dog and all of a sudden I remember, oh yeah, remember when you did that? And I'll realize, wow, that was in 1994. And I'm still wielding that weapon against myself. And it's habitual. It's actually not like I'm saying, what can I beat myself up with today? It's just a pattern. It's a habit of going over stuff. So when I say restore trust with ourselves as part of regenerating, what I mean is creating a practice of connecting with the parts of ourselves and listening and befriending and giving them what they need. Because when I don't do that, they end up coming up when I walk the dog or something in a negative way, in a way that drains my energy. So if we're thinking about regenerating, we're trying to create, not trying, what we're doing is practicing ways of being and doing with ourselves that clear and restore our energy. I want to speak to the safety thing because I've been struggling for words to talk about safety. And so what attracts me about talking to my parts of myself is cultivating safety within me. Like I am where safety begins. It actually is not external to me. It has to be, I'm having to hold it and be responsible for it. And that's where there can be groundedness and strength is when I trust myself, when I know that safety is with me. And if I'm not somewhere physically safe, then I can trust myself to take care of myself, or I can trust myself to bring what I need because I need to be here for a particular reason. But I know that I trust the part of me that's showing up, taking care of the rest of me, in other words. So I want to say that, not outsourcing our safety.
Yes.
And not accepting that you make somebody else safe. I feel like that gets into a very subtle kind of condescension, unequal, not even unequal, more than, less than, when you are like, I make you safe, when you take that on for someone else.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, when I check in with my parts, I ask, what do you need? That's part of what helps them to feel cared for, is that I ask and I do something in relationship to that.
Yes, absolutely. Being able to hear what our parts need allows them to, one, to be seen and heard, which for some of our parts, that's not something that they're used to if we've pushed through the pain or just kept doing. And we might not always be able to meet that need in the moment. If, what am I trying to? So I tend to be a somewhat socially anxious person. And there are times that I have to go to an event that maybe I'm not going to know a whole lot of people. And I need to go because either I'm supporting somebody else or this is important for me professionally, whatever it might be. And so there are some of my parts that are like, I don't want to go. This makes me uncomfortable and scared and sad. And I can meet that need by saying, I hear you. I know this is hard. I'll do my best to listen for if it gets too much and do what I need to do to take care of you in those moments, that part in those moments. So maybe I need to go off to the bathroom, take a few moments, have a few deep breaths to just reground myself. If I can just step outside for a minute and take in some fresh air, or if it's that I can't meet the need in that moment, to say, I hear you and I can't do that right now, but I hear you and I hear how important it is. I'm not ignoring you. It's just right now, this is what I have to do. And you can step off to the side and not be here with me. I can let you go to a little room where you do feel safe and I can show up, because our parts tend to think they have to be there all the time. And we can find ways to help them feel protected. And I know sometimes it sounds a little funny, but you can create a safe space and say, just wait here until this thing is done and I'll be back. We'll get you.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this just in a social justice context, when we're in conflict in our organizations. One of the things that I would say out loud is that a part of me that gets really scared is the fear about white supremacy culture being inside of me. Like, can I really trust myself? Once you start to see how deep the colonization goes, I think it's maybe part of the journey then you don't trust yourself. Then how can I trust myself? Because I didn't see it here. What else am I not seeing? Or where else could I be hurting people? Or where am I showing up in a way that's affirming my blackness, for example? So what I think is important about something like this is not exiling anybody, any part of me. We're multidimensional. And so we're not this or that. We're both and all and. So to me, this work is about getting out of am I good or am I bad to holding all of me. And it is a good model for talking about can I do that with other people and other systems? So one of the last things I'll say out loud is, this is where holding space for transformation is an important tool, because I'm holding space for myself and all these parts of me, and for this larger society, or it could be your family system. So that's why I brought it forward as part of regenerating, because we can use it on an individual level with ourselves. We can move to use it for looking at other systems beyond ourselves. And I paused when I said that, because I think a lot of us who are like teachers, organizers, I don't know, founders of things, we think about group all the time. Like, how can we help a group with this? But I really want us to take in for ourselves how we can use something like this. So I'm inviting you to create a space to listen to the many parts of yourself, and to find out what they need, and to meet them with compassion. So I'm someone who journals. I really can't just hold a lot of words in my head. I actually need to write things down so that they don't get all swirly and anxious for me. So part of giving that space is making sure, if you need to journal to be able to listen and keep track of what different parts are telling you, that you do that. The other thing in terms of creating space to listen is to keep connecting with the body. Keep coming back to the body. So you acknowledge something in your belly, Meta. And when I did my work yesterday, I acknowledged it was my solar plexus, kind of up high, where I was holding this feeling of not belonging. So when we're creating a space and being present to listen and befriend, don't keep it in your head. Try to find it, locate in the body, and give the body something. Keep working with the body.